All right, we have news aplenty from the world of the WWE, or the universe. I'm sorry, I should say of the WWE. And again, I guess all roads lead to the Survivor Series showdown between Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair. Is this going to be a shoot now? Do we get? Because honestly, Charlotte and Nia Jax was a shoot, and it wasn't that entertaining. These girls, they might be more even. You can't shoot or work with Nia Jax. It's as I said, it's like trying to do wrestling moves to a couch. But Charlotte and Becky could be a good little scrap. You think there? Charlotte's got some size on her. Becky seems like she's a feisty little thing, as we used to say about Terry Runnels, full of spunk. So, what do you think? Who are you betting on?
I'd bet on Becky. I think Becky would just have to land one good punch. And I don't know if Charlotte could take a good punch. I think Charlotte will go down quick.
I don't know. Charlotte's got an athletic background.
Charlotte didn't really impress me very much with the Nia Jax thing. It looked like Nia Jax was in complete control.
Well, it's because her legs are like fucking oak trees. How you going to fucking take her down? How you going to, I mean, I know that the UFC and modern era has proven that the big person always doesn't beat the little person, but I don't know what you could do with Nia Jax besides possibly make her a stenographer. But anyway, back to Becky and Charlotte. So the point that I was trying to make is they're apparently trying to make this a shoot, right? Or trying to give this the appearance of a shoot because I'm not saying they're working us and they're all the best of friends giggling and sharing strawberry Haagen-Dazs. I'm saying that they don't like each other and they've had problems. They used to be friends, and now they are using that real life situation that apparently came to a head in the belt transfer segment, and they're trying to turn it into a little business, which I don't have any problem with. But how far you've got some quotes that Becky Lynch gave about Charlotte, and I'm going to tell you what I think after you read them, because she's not completely going over the top and just questioning Charlotte's parentage and deeply personal, profane insults, but she's getting the point across, right?
Well, Becky Lynch was interviewed on the MMA Hour. Well, hey, if she's on the MMA Hour, I especially take her against Charlotte. All right, there we go.
Well, there you go.
Interviewed by Ariel Helwani. And here are some quotes. She was asked about the incident, the belt transfer, as it will now infamously be known forever. There was a plan in place that was supposed to go one way. If it went one way, everyone would have had a moment and it would have been great. I, in the back, said this isn't going to happen. She's going to do something else.
Oh.
She did exactly what I said she was going to do. Sometimes things can happen out there and people get carried away in a moment. You don't have time to process what happens, she admitted. But I knew she was going to purposely disrespect me. I processed it a lot quicker, so I was able to hold it together until I got backstage. I did what I was supposed to do, and then when I got backstage, I lost it a little bit. I verbally lost it. I still had a match to go and do, so I didn't have time to be scrapping in the back. And she then went on to say...
No, wait a minute. Yeah, I had to go back out and do a match later on. I didn't have time to kick her ass right then.
Becky Lynch then talked about the whole situation. There was no need for it because at the end of the day, it wasn't about me. It was about Sasha and her getting into something. So I was like, this is just ridiculous. You need to go out there and be able to trust each other because that's what this is. You need to be able to trust that one person is going to do what they said they're going to do. It's professional wrestling. It's a beautiful art that I love. I love it more than anything. It's telling stories through violence, essentially. When somebody goes out and you can't trust them to do what we've agreed on doing, then what are we doing? Because our bodies are in people's hands. What we do is extremely dangerous. We are trusting somebody with our lives. And then Flair recently questioned whether her gender is the reason that people get rubbed the wrong way. Lynch made it clear that isn't the case. Nobody acts like this. Nobody just cares about themselves. They care about the segment and how everybody else looks, and they work together. Nobody else does this. There's no guy on the roster. There's no girl on the roster. Everybody else, when you work with them, you know it's going to be easy. And you're going to make magic and do some fun things, and we are going to get the audience to feel a certain way because it's a show. No guys or girls act like that. So you can't say it's because I'm a woman. No, it's because you're an asshole. And he comments on that section of quotes.
Well, and let me just footnote this. Actually, and I agree with Becky Lynch and what she said, that it is that way now. It didn't always used to be that way, that everybody was pitching in to have the utmost best match and work together for the common good and etc. It used to be that if you were a main event guy, especially in some places, you fucking, you had to fight to keep your spot, and there were other people. The point I'm making is the matches didn't devolve and degenerate into shoots and fucking etc. But it's hard to explain this to somebody who's not versed on the inside of what wrestling was like in those days, but you had to, in a working environment, kind of fight for what you got in some of those matches, which led the main events, the big matches, especially when there was a little element of real life tension amongst guys. It added to the aura that you were seeing a fight that wasn't necessarily being, performed to plan. Does that make sense to you, Brian?
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, again, there was the threat of phony violence, apparently, as a stooge test, but there's a reason the Bulldogs and the Rougeaus were able to work together at Survivor Series 88. There was kind of a code where you're not going to, no matter what problems you have, you can't be the guy to hurt someone in the ring because you're being irresponsible, because where else are you going to work? No one's going to want to work with you.
But that doesn't mean that when you're working with a guy that you don't like, that he may not make you struggle a little more to get out of that fucking headlock and get something of your own and etc. And that led to a little more.
To a better match.
To a better match. There you go. Anyway, what else did Becky have to say?
Well, apparently the Becky story really took a turn. Her and Ric Flair are going at it. And again, we assume a large portion of this stuff is some legitimate feelings that she's not being reprimanded for airing publicly. But some of this, they are having a match at Survivor Series. So some of this is clearly...
Yeah, and also I saw one quote where the guy just flat out asked Becky, do you trust Charlotte in the ring? And she said, I don't think so. Something like that. So point I was going to make is that they would not be talking this publicly if the office didn't approve it. I'm not saying or at least she wouldn't, Becky wouldn't.
And only one side's really talking, too.
I was about to say Charlotte hadn't had a lot to say, but if Becky thought that what she'd said there was in any way not kosher with the office, I don't think she would have gone that far. But I think they're trying to say, all right, since they don't like each other and everybody knows it anyway, let's get some mileage out of it. So I don't think she's going to be reprimanded unless she calls Charlotte some profane, obscene name that gets you thrown in jail in 3 Midwestern states.
I'm just going to say this right now because I just had a really troubling thought. They better not do some sort of fucking swerve finish because it's a Survivor Series and there's legitimate heat where they play on Montreal.
Oh, come on now.
They better not. I got nightmares of that considering who's in charge over there right now. I sincerely hope they don't do that.
Well, I just want to absolve myself of any responsibility for this week. I'm not even there.